Thank you. Welton, you can eat some of your salad now. I'll call for you in a second. Thank you, Fred. Hi, Mitchell. Hello, everyone. Good evening. What a beautiful venue we have this evening, huh? There's not a lot that I can tell you about Mitchell Gold that you don't already know. You may have learned about Mitchell Gold's story in a multitude of newspapers around the country, in nearly any national magazine, on the stands, or on every major network's morning news program. The fact is, he's been interviewed, cited, and quoted everywhere. As I was thinking about how to properly speak about Mitchell and how to adequately present him with this well-deserved award, it occurred to me that I might actually be able to share with you some of Mitchell's words that never made it to print. Facebook log, Facebook log, February 9th, 2009. From me, Chely Wright, to my friend Bill Kapfer. Subject line, oh my God. Dear Bill, I'm reading the best book in the world. I just bought it this weekend and I can't stop crying. It's called Crisis. It's written by a guy named Mitchell Gold with Mindy Drucker. You must tell everyone about this book. February 10th, 2009, from Bill to me. Mitchell is a friend of mine. May I pass along your comments? February 2009, from Mitchell to me. Yes, we must meet. Feel free to call or write anytime. April 11th, 2009, from me to Mitchell. Hi, Mitchell. It's so nice to make your acquaintance. Smiley face. I look forward to meeting you and talking to you in person sometime if possible, but if I might take this opportunity to tell you how moved I am by your book, Crisis. I'm sure you hear it every day. I would have given anything to have had a book like that to read when I was 15. I'm stunned and humbled by your bravery and by your strength. I hope to be able to change hearts and minds the way you have when I come out. June 7th, 2009, from me to Mitchell. Hey, Mitchell, can you help me get in touch with the folks with the organization Glisten? That way, when I come out in the spring, I'll be ready and able to work with and for young people. Thanks, Mitchell. XO. July 20th, 2009, from Mitchell to me and Eliza Byard. She's the executive director of Glisten. Greetings, Chely and Eliza. Waiting on all three of us to be in town isn't working out so well, so go ahead, the two of you, and meet without me. Who needs a guy anyway? You're making life better for all kids. Love you both, Mitchell. August 22nd, 2009, from Mitchell to me. I really want to make sure that you know, Chely, that I'm here for you. I realize how scary and yet exhilarating your journey can and will be. Please don't hesitate to call me, email me whenever. I'm really proud of who you are. I love you, Mitchell. Actually, I've been listening to and loving your music too. August 25th, from me to Mitchell. Hi, Mitchell. What an unusual headspace I find myself in at times. This really is a trying process. Mitchell, you're a crusader in every part of your life. Not only do I appreciate your work in the gay community, but I admire what you've done with your business. I look at Mitchell Gold Bob Williams and I see a big machine, but it's different. It's a big machine with a heart. Mitchell, I love you. You're so focused and you're moved by your gut. I know you're just a human and you probably have a flaw or two, but I even love your flaws. You have a friend in me for life. Now, this all may sound a little extraordinary to most of you, a wildly successful businessman making the time to support someone he doesn't even know. But if you know Mitchell, like many of us in this room do, you'd know that this is not extraordinary. This is Mitchell Gold's ordinary. And he does what he did for me, for a lot of people. He continues to do it today. Mitchell did connect me with Glisten, and I love the work I've gotten to do with young people in schools. Mitchell did involve me in Faith in America, and now I'm a proud board member. Faith in America is doing important work. Mitchell also insisted that I meet someone else a few years back. He said, Chely, you need to know this man. He'll be important in your life. And he was right. Mitchell, thank you for introducing me to Welton Gaddy. Not only has Welton become one of my closest friends, he officiated my wedding. Speaking of that, the first time Mitchell and I had dinner, he asked me if I was single. I told him yes, He told me he had a great gal for me to meet. We never got around to revisiting the notion. We actually forgot about it. Over a year later, I told Mitchell that I was newly in love. He asked, "Who is it?" I told him, "A gal named Lauren Blitzer." He smiled and said, "Chely, that was who I wanted to set you up with last year." Again, this is Mitchell Gold's Ordinary. I consider myself a relatively busy person, as many of you do too, I'm sure, but nobody is busier than Mitchell Gold. So when he asked me to go with him to North Carolina last fall to talk to their state leaders about the dreadful measure that was soon to be on the voting ballot, which would amend their state's constitution to ensure that gays would never, ever be allowed to marry in that state, well, of course, I said yes. I learned something in those couple of days at the Capitol in Raleigh. I learned that there are two sides of the advocacy world. One side is largely attending LGBT events around the nation, which usually include a nice dinner, cocktails, fellowship with like-minded people, and usually writing a check at the end of the evening to further the mission. The other side of that is, well, I saw the other side in Raleigh. Mitchell grabbed me by the hand and led me into a very different scenario. There was no cocktail hour. There were no rousing pro-equality speeches being made from a podium. There were no throngs of like-minded people laughing and making lunch dates for the next week. There were no warm fuzzies, to say the least. I stood with Mitchell in the private offices and hallways of the state Senate as he approached lawmaker after lawmaker to tell them that about the harm that they were about to do if they supported this hateful and bigoted measure. I was stunned as he looked them in the eye and implored them to vote with their true God-loving hearts. And then I was further stunned as some of those gentlemen replied to Mitchell, most of them saying things like, "Gays are the downfall of our good society. God didn't intend a man to marry a man. It is unchristian." Mitchell's reply to each of them was simply, "Shame on you." And then he spun on his heel, moving on to the next person who'd hear us. Mitchell puts himself on the front lines. One more time, this is Mitchell Gold's Ordinary. It's just who he is. Indeed, many support the LGBT community with their time, with their money, and that is wonderful and critically important. But I know of no one who does what Mitchell Gold does. He's a shining example. He's happily married and fully supported by his amazing husband, Tim, and they have family values. The story of Mitchell Gold's contribution to people and equality will be written and told for generations to come. Tonight, we will write just one page of Mitchell's story. We will celebrate him. I'd like to invite Welton Gaddy to the stage.